The world doesn't play fair. Doesn't matter how honest you are, somebody will still betray you. Doesn't matter how talented you become, somebody less qualified will sometimes take your spot. That's reality. But the people who truly understand that reality, they survive. And the people who survive long enough, they end up running the game. There's a kind of power most people can't see, but everybody feels. That power is called dark intelligence. Dark intelligence is born through betrayal, humiliation, disappointment, and pain. Most people break under pressure. You build from it. It's the kind of intelligence that stays quiet, watches everything, listens carefully, and moves at exactly the right moment. While everybody else is arguing, you're collecting information. While they're reacting emotionally, you're calculating. While they're drowning in feelings, you're planning 3 steps ahead. Most people are playing checkers, you're learning chess. But understand this clearly, this knowledge is meant for protection, not distraction. The goal is not to become evil. The goal is to understand the game well enough so nobody can play you. Today, you're about to discover 8 psychological traits that separate survivors from victims, leaders from followers, winners from people who stay stuck. Type this affirmation in the comments. I choose strategy over emotional reaction. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. Calculated opacity. You never reveal all your intentions. You only show people what they need to see. Because when people know only half the story, their imagination fills in the rest. And imagination is powerful. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Think about the most interesting people you've ever met. They never explain everything. They leave gaps. They smile instead of over-explaining. They answer questions carefully. That's not lying, that's strategy. Most people give away too much information without realizing it. Someone asks a simple question, and suddenly they're explaining their plans, fears, motivations, and entire life story. They think they're building trust. What they're really doing is giving away leverage. Intelligent people understand something important. Mystery creates influence. When people can't fully figure you out, they pay closer attention. Curiosity creates interest. Interest creates respect, and respect creates influence. Imagine somebody asks what you're doing this weekend. Most people instantly say, "Nothing really, probably just staying home watching movies." That answer is honest but forgettable. Now compare that to, "I've got something important to handle." Then you leave it there. Notice the difference. The first answer makes you predictable. The second one makes people curious. This doesn't mean becoming cold or secretive. It means becoming intentional, selective. Your information has value. Stop giving it away for free. When you speak less, people pay more attention to your words. And when your words become rare, they automatically carry more weight. The goal isn't fake mystery. The goal is control over your own narrative. Number 2, adaptive persona. You're not exactly the same with everybody, and that's not fake, that's intelligence. Most people think authenticity means acting identical in every situation. That's not true. You already adjust naturally.
You speak differently to family than you do to friends. You act differently in a job interview than you do at a party. Every person processes the world differently. Some people connect through logic, others connect through emotion. Some care about details, others only care about the big picture. If you communicate the exact same way with everyone, you'll connect with some people and completely lose others. Smart people study the person in front of them. If somebody is analytical, they use facts. If somebody is emotional, they connect emotionally. If somebody is practical, they explain results. If somebody is visionary, they paint possibilities. That's not manipulation, that's social intelligence. Think about water. Water changes shape depending on the container it's in, but it never stops being water. That's how you move. Your presentation adapts, your core values stay solid. The mistake people make is over-adapting until they lose themselves. Never do that. Your morals, principles, and integrity should remain untouched. Only your delivery changes. The strongest people have layers to them, different sides, different dimensions, but at the core, they're still one solid person. Number 3, the principle of detachment. The moment you become terrified of losing something, that thing starts controlling you. The less afraid to lose, the harder you are to manipulate. Machiavelli once said, "It is far safer to be feared than loved." Now, detachment doesn't mean being heartless. It means being free. Most people are controlled by attachment. They tolerate disrespect because they're scared of losing relationships. They stay quiet because they're scared of losing approval. They accept terrible treatment because they're scared of losing opportunities. Fear creates weakness. Freedom from fear creates power. Imagine two people negotiating a deal. One person desperately needs it to work. The other person would like it to work, but has other options. Who has the power? Obviously, the person willing to walk away. Detachment gives you clarity. When you're emotionally desperate, you stop thinking clearly. When you're detached, you can actually see situations for what they are. Here's the paradox. The less desperately you need something, the more naturally it comes towards you. Confident people understand this. Their confidence doesn't come from always winning. It comes from knowing they'll still be okay, even if they lose. That's real power. Detachment also protects you from manipulation.
Threats only work when you're afraid. But when somebody realizes they can't emotionally control you anymore, everything changes. Start practicing this slowly. Stop needing to win every argument. Stop needing everybody to like you. Stop attaching your peace to outcomes you can't control. As you get better at detachment, something interesting happens. People start respecting you more because they can feel your emotional independence, and emotional independence is rare. Number 4, silent leverage. Real power is quiet. Most people think influence comes from being loud, aggressive, or dominant. That's amateur behavior. True influence is subtle. Silent leverage is the ability to create pressure without announcing it. You don't force things. You position yourself strategically until people naturally move in your direction. Instead of demanding respect, you become valuable enough that respect happens automatically. Instead of chasing power, you become impossible to ignore. In conversations, silent leverage means becoming comfortable with silence.
Most people panic during silence, so they talk too much and accidentally reveal everything. But people who stay calm in silence control the rhythm of the interaction. Next time somebody asks you a difficult question, don't rush your answer. Pause, think, then respond slowly. Watch how much more powerful your words sound. In negotiations, silent leverage means having options. You don't even have to threaten to leave. People can feel when you're not desperate, and that changes how they treat you. In relationships, silent leverage means consistently adding value without begging for recognition. When you genuinely improve people's lives, they naturally become attached to your presence. You don't force loyalty, you earn it quietly. In professional environments, silent leverage means becoming the person who solves problems. Not the loudest person, not the most dramatic person, the reliable one. The person everybody trusts when things go wrong. That's influence. And the key to all of this is patience. Silent leverage is long-term power, not instant gratification. Most people want immediate results. Powerful people think differently.
They plant seeds, then wait, because they understand influence compounds over time. Number 5. Psychological echo. You learn how to reflect people's deepest emotions back to them. And when you do that, people start feeling understood around you in a way they rarely experience. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few really know what you are." Most people listen just enough to respond. Strategic people listen to understand. That's the difference. Every person you meet is carrying hidden fears, insecurities, desires, frustrations, and emotional wounds. Most never talk about them directly, but they reveal clues constantly. The way they talk about work, relationships, money, success, failure, it's all revealing something deeper. Psychological echo is the ability to recognize what someone actually means beneath what they're saying. For example, somebody says, "I hate my job." Most people instantly jump into advice mode. Find another job, start a business, quit. But if you listen deeper, maybe what they're really saying is, "I don't feel appreciated. I feel stuck. I feel invisible."
That changes everything. When you respond to the emotion underneath the words, people instantly feel understood. And the moment people feel understood, they trust you more. Every human being is silently asking 3 questions. Do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you value me? When your words answer yes to those questions, your influence naturally increases. This skill becomes extremely powerful in leadership, relationships, business, and everyday communication. Because once you understand somebody's core motivations, you understand how to communicate with them effectively. If someone values security, speak in terms of stability. If someone values recognition, speak in terms of achievement. If someone values freedom, speak in terms of independence. You're not changing the message, you're changing the language around the message. That's psychological intelligence. And when used ethically, it creates stronger relationships and deeper trust. Number 6. Ambiguous morality. Life is not always black and white. Sometimes the right decision looks harsh in the moment, and sometimes the nice decision creates worse outcomes later.
That's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Ambiguous morality doesn't mean becoming evil. It doesn't mean abandoning morals. It means understanding that reality is complicated. Sometimes protecting people requires difficult choices. Sometimes leadership requires uncomfortable honesty. Sometimes kindness becomes weakness when it enables destructive behavior. Imagine you're leading a team and one person keeps lying, damaging trust, and hurting everyone around them. The easy thing might be giving endless chances because you don't want to seem harsh, but eventually you realize protecting the entire group matters more than protecting one person's comfort.
That's pragmatic thinking. Or imagine a friend stuck in a toxic relationship. You could stay silent to avoid hurting their feelings, or you could tell them the painful truth they need to hear. Real wisdom understands that short-term discomfort can create long-term healing. The key question becomes, what creates the best outcome overall? Not what makes me look like the nicest person. That mindset changes everything. But listen carefully. Ambiguous morality is dangerous when used selfishly. That's why you need boundaries, principles, standards you refuse to violate no matter what. Because without discipline, strategic thinking can become manipulation. The goal is effectiveness with integrity, not selfishness disguised as intelligence. The strongest people know how to make difficult decisions without losing their humanity. Number 7, controlled exposure. You don't reveal everything about yourself. And in today's world, that's a superpower. Everybody overshares now. People post every emotion, every thought, every move online for validation. But controlled exposure works differently. It understands something important. The less people know, the more they imagine, and imagination creates intrigue. When everybody is constantly exposing themselves, the person who stays intentional becomes unforgettable. Controlled exposure means revealing information gradually, strategically, not because you're hiding, but because not everybody deserves complete access to you. Think about the most captivating people you know. They probably don't tell everybody their entire life story immediately. They let people earn deeper access over time. That creates value. In professional situations, controlled exposure means not showing every skill you have all at once. You reveal capabilities gradually. That way, people constantly discover new depth in you. In social situations, it means understanding that mystery is more attractive than over-explaining everything. And online, controlled exposure is critical. Everything you post becomes part of your identity. People form judgments before they ever meet you. Strategic people understand that their digital presence is shaping opportunities, relationships, and reputation constantly. The goal isn't pretending to be mysterious. The goal is protecting your narrative. Once information leaves your mouth, you lose control over it forever. That's why intelligent people speak carefully, not fearfully, intentionally. Because when people know less, they make more assumptions, and assumptions often become your advantage. Number 8, outcome obsession. This is the trait that separates people who talk from people who actually win. Most people are obsessed with looking smart, looking right, looking important.
But outcome-focused people only care about one thing: results. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Now understand this clearly.
Outcome-obsessed does not mean becoming unethical. It means staying focused on what actually matters instead of getting distracted by ego. Most arguments are pointless. People fight to protect pride, not progress. Outcome-obsessed people think differently. Instead of asking, "How do I prove I'm right?" they ask, "What outcome do I actually want here?" That question changes your entire approach to life. In disagreements, maybe proving somebody wrong damages the relationship and solves nothing. In business, maybe being efficient matters more than looking impressive. In personal growth, maybe results matter more than intentions. Outcome-focused people don't confuse movement with progress. They understand you can stay busy forever without actually improving your life. So they focus on the few actions that create the biggest results. They don't waste energy trying to do everything. They focus on what actually works. This creates what some people call strategic laziness, not because they're lazy, but because they're selective. They put energy where it matters most. And here's another important thing. Outcome-obsessed people are flexible. They stay committed to the goal, not the method. If one strategy fails, they adjust. They don't emotionally cling to plans that no longer work. That adaptability makes them extremely dangerous in competitive environments. Because while everybody else is trapped in ego and emotion, they're focused purely on execution. And over time, that mindset builds a reputation. People start seeing you as someone who gets results, someone reliable, effective, capable. And that reputation opens doors most people never even see. You've just learned the 8 traits of dark intelligence, but knowledge means nothing without application. Real intelligence is not about manipulating people. It's about understanding human nature deeply enough that nobody can easily manipulate you. It's about protecting yourself, thinking strategically, moving wisely.
The world needs more people who understand psychology without abusing it. People who can stay calm in chaos. People who can think clearly under pressure. People who know how to navigate complex situations without losing themselves. That's the real purpose of dark intelligence. Not power over others, power over yourself. Because the most dangerous person in any room isn't the loudest person. It's the person who understands human behavior and stays emotionally disciplined. So the question is, who do you choose to become? If this message shifted the way you think about intelligence and power, leave a like. Subscribe for more content on psychology, strategy, and human behavior. And in the comments, tell me, which one of these 8 traits do you already see in powerful people around you, and which one are you going to master first? Until next time, stay strategic, stay disciplined, and stay powerful.